Greetings Ravens, FiOth here, and in this vid, to celebrate the release of RoboCop Rogue City, we will be recreating Alex Murphy's chassis in Armored Core 6. I tried to approach it both aesthetically and functionally, so this is quite powerful and looks the part to the extent of possibilities within the Armored Core aesthetics. Let's get to it! We will be starting with the generator, and for the purposes of this build we're going with the Sun Tie. It is very balanced, sporting amazing EN capacity to perform more actions, very good EN recharge and supply recovery. Not a spec was given to firearms in this one, but we don't really need it because even the needle launcher is considered a ballistic projectile, and the post recovery EN supply is not that good, but if you manage your energy you don't really need it. It doesn't burden us and leaves the QB reload time in a very good state of 0.63 seconds and is fine when it comes to wait for a current load. Highly recommended, hands down the best possible choice for this build. Our FCS is the WLT-001, amazing medium range scenes, are very good for close range and long range, not so good when it comes to missiles, but we don't really need those because we're not using them, and it's quite light and not very power hungry. No reason why you wouldn't use this if you have it. It is my choice for this loadout. For the booster we're going with the IBC03B NGI001, excellent QB thrust, excellent QB jet duration, amazing overall thrust and upward thrust. The consumption is high, but we have to deal with it because we don't want to stay too high up. Our automatic guns will not do the best possible job if you are. Need to stay relatively close to the enemy, so we are not gonna be soaring above them for extended periods of time. Melee attack thrust is also very good, and since we're using one melee weapon, we will want this to help our landing the attack. Very good choice, highly recommended. Now for the core, we're going with Mind Alpha, very healthy overall stats. If you go and look at the top left, AP, anti-kinetic, anti-energy, anti-explosive, all excellent, very balanced, not too heavy, not too energy hungry. One of my favorites, and the roundness really fits the bill when it comes to Murphy's armor. Hands down the best choice, not even discussing this. Mind Alpha is the best one for my build. Now the legs can be discussed. What I wanted was to bring the roundness of Robo's legs and allow us to carry some weight. They are very good. Maybe some would advocate for the Alba, but people, the Alba is a piece of dookie. The worst legs you can possibly use. You can only imagine how good of a pilot Rusty is to be able to support his AC on these pieces of shit. Mind Alpha for me is the best choice for this build, half down. It fits excellently both to our current load and EN load and boasts overall healthy stats. My pick for sure when it comes to this loadout. For the arms I'm going HAL 826. Initially I wanted to go Melander C3, very good, but the Melander sacrifices this roundness, this curviness that we really need to bring out Robo's design. So I'm going with this. They are indeed very healthy on most departments. Melee specialization is quite fine as well, and firearm specialization is pretty excellent, so both our melee weapon and our firearms will benefit from this. AP status 2210, not too shabby, takes our total AP over 10,000, which is great. For the head we're going VP44S, one of my favorites. The only thing that doesn't fit the build when it comes to Robo's design is this antenna component. If you look from below you can see the black sheen visor that I chose. It is one of the best heads when it comes to visors, maybe the best, and the stats are fine. If you see here, the AP is very balanced, and the only thing it doesn't really go well is the scan effective duration, but who cares if you already collected your stuff and don't depend too much on scanning to acquire targets. This will serve you just fine. Now hear me out, when it comes to the right hand unit I am using the Shampoo, which is kinda shitty, not gonna lie, but it is a burst fire handgun, and that is what the Auto 9 in the movies are. I recommend you swap to the Ducket or Kokele if you prefer to have a functioning firearm. I made it sure so that they are within spec of our load and yen load, so you can give them a go if you don't like the shampoo. I don't like the shampoo, but I wanted to stay close to the cannon. Do what you want to make Robo as effective as possible. For the left arm, I'm using the Changchen. I like the Changchen in general, it is very effective. It is supposed to replace the autocannon, the auto arm, let's say, from the third movie, which is shit, but we have to cover all bases. You can go Ludlow, even lighter, or you can go Etudiant, also lighter. Do what you prefer. Etudiant has slightly better stats on some departments, but for me this looks a lot more like the lo-fi approach of RoboCop, bulky and sturdy, so I went with it. If it's not your preference, it's totally fine. I made sure that both the Ludlow and the Etudiant fits the build here, you don't have to change anything else, so swap them and enjoy what you will. Right shoulder, we have the needle cannon, and we have this because, guys, let's face it, Cobra Cannon. Cobra Cannon's most iconic weapon in the series next to the Auto 9. So we want a sniper rifle looking really heavy cannon weapon that is none other than the needle launcher when you need to get the job done. Also helps pull this build from the grave of cosplay uselessness. Most of these builds, let's face it, are just there for looks and barely functional, but this is extremely solid. I've totally tested it and it gets the job done. The needle launcher just makes getting the job done a lot easier. For our left alternative, we have the Ashmint. Murphy has been punching through walls and people's faces since the 80s with that black shiny fist, so having this here is a non-brainer. We made sure that both our booster and arms support melee specialization, so this will land easily and cause a shitload of damage. Highly recommended. It is one of my favorite weapons anyway, so I'm using it here as well. Now I'm gonna leave the paint job here so you can grab it and replicate it. I went for a silver sheen without making it too glossy. You can suggest other configurations if you want, always open to suggestions, but I didn't want to make this feel too noisy, didn't put too many colors in it. Murphy's armor barely has any color, it's just blacks and silver. So that's what I'm going for. Withering is at 0, it's like perfectly new and polished. If you wanna get the rusty or scrappy look by the end of any of the movies when Robo is pretty much banged up, you can change the withering to your own specifications. So this is it, people. RoboCop, aka Alex Murphy, reporting for duty. RoboCop Rogue City came out 2 days ago. I highly recommend you check it out. It's a very honest to God piece of work, playing homage to the movies of yore, and as a product it is totally fine, serviceable and enjoyable for what it's worth. Hope you like this. I've been making a ton of content for Armored Core, took a break to get some other project underway, but now we'll be coming back making more builds and more guides. So sub, like, hit the bell, and until next time, be well, stay frosty and always strive for perfection. Cheers!